Welcome to Feagan and Finch, the podcast where we discuss everything football related. I'm Alex Finch.
And I'm Ryan Feagan. Let's talk football.
So, for this week's podcast, we've got a really exciting topic. So, me and Ryan love youth football. We love looking at the best young talents coming through. So, this week we thought, why not discuss the best academies in Europe? Who are the best academies? What clubs have the best academies? And we're talking the best academies in 2020. We're not talking the best academies 10 years ago. We're not talking about the players they produced 15 years ago. We're talking about academies which are the best as of today, have the best facilities, are producing the best players coming through at the moment, and will produce the best players going forward as the years go by. Ryan, you love a bit of youth football. You love watching players come through academies. I think there's no better place than you for you to start, and I think I know the club you'll start off with.
Well, where best to start than with, one of the most successful academies in England. I think definitely the best academy of the last, say, 16 years. Am I being biased by saying that?
10 years. 10 years.
10? Oh, all right, well, I'll give you that one. It's Chelsea. Of course it's Chelsea. This academy has gone through so much. They produce talent after talent after talent. They produce all this talent. Unfortunately, not a lot of the talent gets to progress to first team football for Chelsea. Sometimes they do, sometimes they get their chance, but they only really get that one opportunity to make that impact. And I'm going off the fact like Izzy Brown, remember we had won the league, it was against West Brom. He didn't produce against West Brom, just loaned out straight away after that. And yeah, I think he's still on Chelsea's books now, but he's never going to make it, which is very unfortunate. But this academy, Finch, is unreal. The amount of profit that Chelsea make from it is crazy. From homegrown talent, it's incredible. And the fact that Chelsea have had this transfer ban now means that we have to use the youth product. And maybe we were wrong to profit off it in the past due to the stars that come through and the stars they've gone to be, stars that haven't gone to be, etc. like that. But you look at the players that we've got playing in the youth setup, in the first team now, you've got Billy Gilmore, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Reece James, Tammy Abraham, Mason Mount, Tomori, just a whole cast of incredible talent that would rival to getting into first teams of most of other Premier League teams. Need I go on?
Definitely. And Chelsea, their academy has been so successful in terms of the cups they've won. Between 2013 to 2018, you won 5 FAU Cups in a row. 5. That is unprecedented. You've done it in Europe as well. So the equivalent of the Champions League or the under-18s, UEFA Youth League. You won it in 2014, 2015, 2016. The last 2 years you got to the final. So you've had
unfortunately lost to Barcelona and Porto, but Barcelona, Porto, fantastic academies again. You can't fold it.
Yeah, you can't fault their academies, but the success they've had as an academy in terms of what they've won is unbelievable. But it's a sad story because you've had all this success, but ultimately between 2013 to 2018, none of the youngsters got into the teams. Where these were the best youngsters in the country, and Chelsea just didn't play them. It was a bit of a tragedy because it's such a successful academy, and you just failed to give. They just failed to give the players an opportunity in the first team. You can't just give them one game. You need to give them a whole season of playing football. And many of the youngsters had to go down leagues and never lived up to their potential because they were loaned out too many times. So the class of 2013 to 2017, they won it all. They won the FA Youth Cups. They won the UEFA Youth Leagues, but just didn't get a chance. And I'm talking the players like Josh McEachran. Josh McEachran was hailed as the next big thing, even Lampard's successor possibly. And he just didn't get really a chance. He played a few games, but was never given a proper opportunity to play. Dominic Solanke, another one. And he left Chelsea because he didn't think he was going to play there. And ultimately, he hasn't done it elsewhere. But he wasn't given the opportunities he needed. There's so many players like that, which is a tragedy at the time. And it makes you think that Chelsea, if they were playing youth before, and this transfer ban came before, the players which could have been.
Well, exactly. You think of players like Nathan Ake, Lewis Baker, Bertrand Traore, Bertrand Traore, don't get me wrong, when we finished 10th under Hiddink after Mourinho had left. Bertrand was given this chance to flourish, and he did. But for whatever reason, after when Conte come in, he didn't want him. He did not see the need for him, and which is sad because Traore was a fantastic youth product, but it never worked out.
Yeah, and it's been an absolute blessing that Chelsea have had this transfer ban and Lampard coming at the same time, who will play youth, because Lampard knows the youth at Chelsea. He's been there, he's done it. He's probably watched a lot of these players since they were very young. But I don't actually think that if Chelsea didn't have this transfer ban, I don't think they would have got Lampard. Because I think Lampard, one of the reasons they got Lampard is because they knew he'd be good with youth. And I don't think they would have played nowhere near the amount of youth as they have done this season and will do going into next season, as they have done because of this transfer ban. I think it's been an absolute blessing because you've had the most amount of academy products than ever playing in Chelsea's team. Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Mount, Tomori, James, Gilmore. They're all playing now. Christensen, they're all playing.
Yeah,
and that wouldn't have happened.
No, it just shows, no, it wouldn't have happened, but it shows, if given the chance, like these guys can make it. And you think the last really great academy product that Chelsea had, probably one of the greatest players in history of football, but top 3 in Chelsea's history, John Terry.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a shame that we don't use youth as much, but with the transfer ban, like you said, it's been an absolute blessing in disguise. And
because when you think about
it, shows Lampard, it shows Lampard, Abramovich, that youth really is the future. You haven't got to spend big every single summer.
Well, it is, like I said before, a blessing in disguise that this came in, because I really don't think Chelsea would have played these players unless it came in. Because even you look at Ruben Loftus-Cheek, the greatest Chelsea academy product was age group of his era, and yet he didn't get a look in for 3 seasons, and now he's at 24. He is playing at Chelsea regularly when he's not injured, is in absolute force. But between 20 and 23, he wasn't getting the opportunities at all, and he had to go on loan to Crystal Palace to prove himself. But now, because of the transfer ban, I think it's helped him get the opportunities. Like, look at Gilmore. Gilmore would not have got any opportunity if Chelsea didn't have this transfer ban, not at all.
No,
I do think it's been a massive benefit.
Travesty, because Billy Gilmore is one of the most exciting youth prospects I've seen in recent years ever. I think he's absolutely. I think he's fantastic. I said last podcast, this kid can do it all.
Yeah, pity he's Scottish.
A big pity. But there's still other academy prospects, that are out on loan that could come back and fight for their place. It's seen what other youth prospects have done. You've got the likes of Charlie Musonda. He was deemed to be this next big thing. Belgium, plays a lot like Eden Hazard, full of tricks, got a hell of a shot on him. For whatever reason, he kept getting loaned out. Went to Celtic, went to the Belgian league. Currently on loan at Vitesse now, which that league's been abandoned. So he's stuck in a bit of limbo at the minute. He's not really anywhere. But it's a big shame, because back in the day, back in 2017, when Hudson-Odoi was lighting up the youth league, this was our Hudson-Odoi of 2017. He was deemed to be the next poster boy for Chelsea. And somewhere along the line, it just fell off.
Yeah, but he just wasn't getting the opportunities. That's another thing. Like, you look at going back to Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and going back to him, because I think he's a perfect example. He played a few games, 2015, 2016, 13 appearances, showed real promise. Then he should have been given up the opportunities the next season. But Conte just didn't use him at all. Chelsea going back to the old ways, the best prodigy they have, didn't play him. And that's not how it should be. And I just really hope Chelsea just don't goes to the old ways and stop playing the youth again, like they've done in past years.
Yeah,
I hope they've learned from the mistakes and will back Tomori, will back Mount, will back these players. I hope they don't bring in. I know Chelsea supporters, you might say otherwise, but I hope they don't bring in Havertz. I hope they play Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Mount in that position. Because you bring in Havertz, you're showing I don't trust our youth in Loftus-Cheek and Mount, because they play in the same position.
Exactly.
Which you shouldn't do, in my opinion, because you have these great talents. And I think Loftus-Cheek, he's an absolutely amazing player. And I think he'll play for England in years to come.
Hmm.
But how good could he have been at this point of his career at 24? He played over 150 times. He played the same amount of appearances as Dele Alli, for example.
Yeah.
How good would
He's
Ruben Loftus-Cheek be? He's the same age as Dele
exactly,
Alli.
and
Dele
Loftus.
Alli's played like 200 times in his career. Ruben Loftus-Cheek's
Yeah.
played 70 odd times.
And we're still yet to see the best of Ruben Loftus-Cheek. I feel like we may have seen the best of Dele Alli, unfortunately, in his younger days. But I mean, I hope not. I think Dele Alli's a fantastic player, and I hope he only gets better. But he had that amazing season a couple of years back. And like you say, he's exactly the same age as Ruben Loftus-Cheek. But I feel like Ruben Loftus-Cheek has more to offer than Dele Alli.
Yeah, at the moment. But Dele Alli, the difference is Dele Alli has been able to play regularly. He's gone to World Cups, he's played in World
Yeah.
Cups, he's scored in World Cups. Loftus-Cheek's been to World Cups, but he's been on the bench and started games which are not important. Dele Alli has been to Euros and been to the World Cup and has been a starter because he's been starting at his club.
Yeah.
And Loftus-Cheek should have been starting in, let's say, the 2018 World Cup, but he wasn't because he wasn't playing regularly enough.
No, completely agree.
But
I completely
absolutely,
agree.
going back to Chelsea Academy, an amazing academy. The best thing in over 10 years in terms of producing the players and winning the youth tournaments, but it's only been the last year and a bit where they've actually started playing the players.
Yeah.
And I think that can bring us on to the next academy, which I think is the best academy outside of England and outside of Spain. So I'm narrowing down a little bit. So 2 countries I'm narrowing out here. That's Ajax. Potentially the most famous academy in the world that produced the likes of Johan Cruyff, Van Basten, Rijkaard, Dennis Bergkamp, Patrick Kluivert, all these amazing names. And these names go on to manage Ajax's academy and pass on their success and their education to the future generation. So Ajax have a clear philosophy with their youth academy. They have this 4-3-3 wing play, which every single academy level learns how to play that type of play. They have clear training methods, clear behaviours. They have a great structure. So difference between a lot of countries in Europe and England in terms of how their youth play is that a lot of these great teams at Ajax have B teams in the second division for their youngsters to play regular football at a good level in really competitive games. So a lot of the great Ajax players recently have been able to play for young Ajax, so their B team, which play in the second tier in the Netherlands. And that gets them that experience to play at the top level. And they get those games in early. We were just talking about Loftus-Cheek not getting in the games. He was playing plenty of games under 23 level, but that's not the same as real competitive football. Players at Ajax can play real competitive football in their B tier, or second division, let's say, and Ajax's B team. And the likes like Frankie de Jong, he played over 40 times for this young Ajax in competitive games. He played 2016, 2017, I think it was his last year for that young Ajax, and in total he got 46 appearances for Ajax's B team, 8 goals. So it gave him some real good experience. And all the great recent Ajax players have come through their second team. So we're thinking Van der Beek, Eriksson, de Jong, Justin Kluivert, De Ligt, Blind, Gravenbach. They got a couple more coming through, like Serginho Dest, great player. I just see Ajax as such a great academy because it just keeps on producing. Every year it's a new talent. Every single year.
Every decade, mate. It goes back, to the 70s, and you think you had Johan Cruyff, and in the 80s you got Rijkaard, De Boer, Bergkamp, Patrick Kluivert, Edgar Davids. In the 90s you got Van der Sar, Clarence Seedorf. 2000s you've got Toby Alderweireld, Van der Vaart, Wesley Sneijder, Thomas Vermaelen, Jan Vertonghen, Christian Eriksen, Finch. These names will go down in history. They are world-class players, and they all come from the same academy. This academy is going to be a tough one to beat when it comes to producing the most famous talent.
Yeah, but it's just they carry on producing year after year. Like Van der Beek might go this summer. They'll replace him with Gravenberch, a great youngster. When other youngsters have gone, they've just replaced him. Christian Eriksen went. They promoted Frankie de Jong. Frankie de Jong was unbelievable. When the likes of Alderweireld and Vertonghen went, they either found replacements or got De Ligt came through, an absolute leader. They just carry on replacing and bringing in these almost like-for-like players because they are very similar some of these players.
Yeah,
And
I
there's
completely agree. Absolutely
and
fantastic array of talent that they're producing.
yeah, and the thing I actually do really well, which probably separates them from a lot of academies, is they produce partnerships and collaborations with different countries. So they obviously have a big academy in Africa where they bring over players from there, and they actually have a partnership which has been really successful with a club in Belgium. So a club called Germinal Beerschot, and
Hmm.
with this academy in Belgium, they bring over the best talent to Ajax's academy when they're old enough. And the best known examples are Jean Vertonghen and Alderweireld. They came through this system in Belgium where Ajax have this partnership, and Ajax brought them to their academy in the Netherlands, and ultimately how successful were they? So that shows Ajax have these collaborations to bring through the players as well. So they do something a little bit different to some other academies.
Hmm. Yeah.
But
No,
it's going to be hard to beat them.
oh, without a doubt, Finch. And my next pick certainly isn't going to beat them, but I feel like the players that I'm going to about to list off for this team could beat their main team lined up. I'm of course talking about the Banter Club of the Premier League at this moment in time. Well, at this moment in time, the last sort of 10 years of the Banter Club, that is Arsenal. You know, they've had a few great academy players, you know, throughout their history, like Tony Adams, Ashley Cole, you know, Chesney, but you never really hear of great academy prospects coming from Arsenal other than them three really. But they've got a good array of young talent coming through the ranks right now. You think they've got Bukayo Saka, Emil Smith Rowe, fantastic striker. This guy bangs me for fun in the youth league. All the Arsenal fans absolutely adore him. You know, he's not had the best success playing for Huddersfield or Leipzig, but given the chance for Arsenal, I'm sure he'll shine alongside this man, Eddie Nketiah. We've already seen what he can do in the FA Cup, even in the Premier League. He had a bit of an unsuccessful spell at Leeds, but you know, Bielsa has his team. I'm not too sure why they decided to get Nketiah, because how many games did Nketiah even play for Leeds? Since
3 games
you know,
maybe, wasn't many.
yeah, wasn't many at all, and he would have been a big help in their race for promotion. Um, so you can imagine the partnership in the next 5 years of Smith Rowe and Eddie Nketiah. Playing behind him, you've got Joe Willock. This guy can play ball. He is fantastic in the midfield, and he could even rival their midfielders today of Xhaka and Guendouzi.
Mm.
I don't understand why Arsenal are not promoting this. They are promoting some youth, but I thought they have the option to play a lot more youth, especially with the injuries that they're picking up, you know, and the suspensions as well.
Yeah.
Other great talent, you know, Reece Nelson, fantastic winger, done really well at Hoffenheim last year. They've got all the talent here to make up a fantastic team that I feel like if they implement it next year under Arteta, you know, fresh project, I really do believe Arsenal can challenge again for top four.
And bringing in Saliba from St Etienne, that centre
Exactly.
back is so crucial. But I
Yeah.
do agree, great academy. They're bringing through a lot of players at the moment. But one thing I think I am going to say is that a lot of those players are good players, but are they players who could go on to be world class? I don't think so. There's a lot of
Maybe
players there
Saka.
who maybe I think it's good, but I don't think it's good enough. I think Arsenal have a lot of good players which could have long careers in football and could be really good players for them. Let's say like Theo Walcott kind of level. But I don't think they'll be the players for years to come are going to be like stalwarts in England's team, for example. Where you look at a club like Chelsea with the players they've brought through, they're going to some of those players are going to go right to the top and be in England's team for years to come. You see like Mount, you look at Callum Hudson-Odoi, you look at Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Those kind of players I think will be top class, and like Loftus-Cheek already is top class. Has been to the World Cup, let's say. I just don't see some of these Arsenal players having those similar pathways, because these Chelsea youngsters, I'm bringing in Chelsea because I just think they are the top class youngsters at the moment.
Yeah.
They've won individual accolades at these youth tournaments. Like Mount I think he got the golden player at a Euros under 17, under 18 level, or something like that. And he was the standout player in that. these Arsenal players, they're in these squads for the youth tournaments, but for England. But other than standouts, I don't think they are the standouts. I think that separates Arsenal and Chelsea. Arsenal have a lot of these great players coming through, which aren't the best in the age groups that Arsenal do get in these England age groups. They will play for Arsenal, but are they the standout players of their generation? I don't think so. And I think Chelsea have a few of them. And that is a difference. I think Chelsea produced good youth players who are standouts in their generation, whereas Arsenal produce good
Arsenal doesn't.
who can have good careers but aren't the standouts.
No, exactly. That's why I struggled to list off fantastic youth products. The only ones I could actually list off, I had to include Wojciech Szczesny in their list. You know, you got Tony Adams, a legend of the game, Ashley Cole, one of the greatest left backs of all time, and Szczesny. I couldn't really find any other fantastic youth prospects from Arsenal.
Mm-hmm. Arsenal have a great knack of, well, Wenger at least did, buying players from other clubs young and developing them. You look at Fabregas, the likes of those kind of Nasri, those kind of players, getting them young, Henry, getting them young, developing them.
Anelka.
The list is endless. There's so many players like that.
Exactly.
But there isn't many Ramsey. There isn't many players that they've brought through and have got to that level. Even Walcott, say Chamberlain, those kind of players, they brought them through. They paid them to come to them. They didn't bring them through their youth academies.
Yeah.
I think Arsenal potentially the best club in terms of buying players and developing them. They're not the best club in terms of developing their own, I don't think.
Sorry, I forgot one player. Can we really include him? No, it's Jack Wilshere as fantastic academy graduate. Can we include Jack Wilshere as fantastic? Well,
he's a player which could have been. Yeah, as a player which could have been. I just think
not.
Yeah, even like Reece Nelson, what a player he is, but he isn't the standout of his generation. His obviously the direct comparison with him is because he was in the Bundesliga last year is him and Sancho.
Yeah.
Obviously, Reece Nelson had a great season. He got 7 goals and at Hoffenheim. Sancho had a lot better season, and he was the standout player of his generation.
Yep.
I think that is just the difference. I do think Arsenal, a lot of their youngsters should go on and have successful careers at Arsenal. I'd rather see like Willock play over Guendouzi. I think Willock is a real good player. Saka could potentially be a good player on the wing, but I'm not sure if Pepe and Aubameyang stay, they might go out in the wings. Well, Pepe would definitely stay if Aubameyang stays, let's say. I don't know how many opportunities Saka will get because when he's got a lot of his opportunities this season as a left wing back, and now Tierney's back. If Tierney's fit, Tierney will play. Tierney's a really good player.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Best player Celtic have had in years when he was there. He was their captain. Celtic fans absolutely loved him. It's just injury isn't his best asset. So we'll just have to see with that. But yeah, overall, I think Arsenal's a really solid academy, but I don't think it's the best.
Yeah. No. Like I say, we'll struggle to rival Chelsea, Ajax, and others that we will list. But I thought they deserved a little mention just for their, I wouldn't say mediocre, but their class. I wouldn't say world class, but their class talent that they've produced.
Yeah, I think we've got to go back to Europe. So I'm going to go to France this time. I want to go to a club which I think there's 2 clubs in France which have fantastic academy, world-class academies. There's a lot of clubs with also great academies. I'm going to go both. I'm going to do the first one, which is Lyon. And I talked before about Ajax having this second team, this B team, which allows them to bring through the youth. France have a similar setup with Lyon having a B team which plays in their 4th division, so offers real competitive games. And Lyon's nickname is actually Legons, which translates to the kids. So the reason they're called that is because they have an excellent record for developing youth players. So I'm thinking Kia, I'm thinking Anthony Lopez, Cornet, Hossein Oura, great player. They all come up from Lyon's youth academy and are first team starters right now. You have a few prospects.
Being linked with big money moves.
Yeah, big money moves. And you have a few prospects which are the next generation of Lyon. You have the likes of Max Rance Coqueret. Absolutely amazing youth talent. It's centre mid, plays the game like Iniesta. he will be a starter for years to come for Lyon. You had the real standout, the standout of French football at his age, Cherky. He really benefited from,
Cherky. Yeah,
really
you've mentioned
benefited
Cherky
from,
many a time
yeah.
on this podcast.
He's a player to watch out. I talked about him last week with the breakthrough talents, and Lyon have a knack of getting these players, and he is an absolutely outstanding player, which I think he's the best player to come out of Lyon since Benzema, and that is a big shout. And
That is a really big shout.
he is a great player, and even at 16 years old, he's been able to develop at their B team. He had 9 appearances for their B team, got 5 goals, and then went straight into their first team. And whilst we're talking about great breakthrough players to come from Lyon or to come from Lyon in the future, they've got one striker called Guerreri, who, alongside Cherky, I think will be Lyon's next big hope for years to come. He has a fantastic record at youth level, alongside Cherky. So I think he's 19 and has been a standout during his time for France youth levels. So, for example, the under 17 Euros back in 2017, he was a top goal scorer, and he regularly gets a top goal scorer for these youth age groups. So France under 17, 20 goals in 15 games. Under 18, 5 goals in 5 games. Under 19, 7 goals in 8 games. Under 20, 3 goals in 4 games. He just dominates every single level, and I can only see him being a success. He did have his career a little bit almost suspended because he got a bad injury, which basically took him out of season. So that's why he didn't break through last season. He's got a few appearances this season, but it's next season where we really think he'll break through. But Lyon's academy more generally, some great talents. Look at the talents. I was just listing talents they've got in their team at the moment, and if you look at the talents they've brought through over the last 5-10 years, they are some of the best players in the world. You're looking at Benzema, you're looking at Lacazette, you're looking at Tolizo, these kind of players.
Fekir.
So they're some of the best players in the world. Do you not agree?
Oh, Finch. I completely agree. You're preaching to the choir, Finch. Benzema is one of them players who is now starting to get the recognition he deserves now Ronaldo's gone. The man is up there in the top 5 Real Madrid top scorers.
Definitely.
He is an incredible talent. Absolutely incredible talent. And he's been doing that ever since he was so young at Lyon. That's the reason he got that big money move, was because he showed himself on the biggest stage at such a young level, from being promoted from the youth team to Lyon's first team, becoming one of the best strikers in the world at just 19 years old.
Yeah, and I think he doesn't get the recognition because he doesn't play for France. I don't know why, but I think people give more recognition to players who just perform at international and club level because they're always in their minds. Whereas Benzema said that big scandal.
With Valbuena.
Yeah, scandal. That's it. That could be a whole podcast on its own.
That was very odd.
But yeah, overall, a great academy. He bring through talent after talent. They remind me of Ajax just because they bring through similar players again. Like you look at Cherky, he's in a bit of in the mould of Benzema and Ben Arfa, them two combined together. You look at this. I think I'm pronouncing his name wrong, but Max France Coqueret is very similar to a centre mid in their team at the moment, Hossim. So it's very similar to him. Very similar. So they bring through talent after talent in similar positions. And whilst we're on the topic of best, well, not the best, but they are the best. Let's go for the best French academies. You've got to talk about PSG as well. An academy that really reminds me of Chelsea's academy. Because I guess really reminds me of Chelsea's academy of old before 2018. Let's put that right. So I'm saying that because a great academy which produces world-class talent, but just doesn't play that talent, and then they end up going elsewhere. They've brought in a huge amount of money into that academy. Obviously, Qatar, Sport investments coming in 2011 and spending so much money on their academy, and they brought through some fantastic players through that money. through that academy. So the money has talked. You like the likes of Kimpembe starting for PSG now, Areola, they both came through the academy. But
Mhm.
they're really the two exceptions, because most of the players which came through that academy have got that success elsewhere. I'm talking about Rabiot. I'm talking about Nkundu, who's doing great at Leipzig. I'm talking about Diaby, who's doing great at Leverkusen. Even
Yep.
Koeman at Bayern Munich. All these players came through the academy uh, at PSG, but didn't play. They weren't given the chance. They had to go elsewhere. So that has
Mm.
been their biggest fault. They've got a great academy, bringing through great talents, but just aren't playing them.
Yeah. I completely agree. It's just, you say, it's just like Chelsea. Too. A massive team in France, a massive team in England. It seems to be a recurring thing with these big teams. With such rich owners, it's tough not to splurge into the transfer market. And using the profits made off the youth into these already established world class talents. It's obviously we want the youth to be promoted. That's the whole reason we really enjoy watching the youth levels, to see who's going to be the next big star. But we also, you got to admit, Finch, you see why it's so tough to promote these youth players when
Yeah,
the
I do.
attraction is there.
I do see why, but that doesn't
Mm.
really give an excuse when you see that other top clubs doing
Oh,
it. Like
definitely
even
not.
like
Definitely not.
look at a club like Liverpool at the moment. They brought through Trent in a
Yeah.
fashion where they've in the same period they've won plenty of trophies, and they're bringing through like Jones at this moment as well. He's played a few games, so it hasn't given
Mm.
them an excuse not to play that. If you look at, I was going to say United, but I actually will say United. United going through the whole successful, the probably most successful phase of their whole history between 1996 to 2000, and that was all centered on that class of 1992.
Mm.
So although it's incredibly difficult, and when you have rich owners, I think it makes it more difficult because the
Yeah.
money's there. But
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't give an excuse, and I do think that's what's going to happen to Man City. I think Man City are Chelsea of old. I think they're a great academy, bringing through great players, but they're just
Mm-hmm.
not going to play them. If Foden, the best player of his generation, is struggling to get into that team, then what's
Exactly.
going to be like for all the others? I just think Man City's academy reminds me so much of Chelsea's of old, and I can only see. I think they've got some great talents like Garcia. They've got Tommy Doyle. Ian
Yep.
Nacho obviously was there, but I only can see Foden getting through, even though these other talents are world class, because the competition and because Man City are going to buy other players, and that is just like
Mm.
Chelsea of old.
Exactly. Yeah. I completely agree, Finch. It is tough when you have these rich owners, and it's sad to see. It really is sad to
Mm.
see that they're wasting these youth products and using them for profit, like pigs for slaughter. It's it's really sad to see. It is really sad to see.
Yeah,
Speaking of United, actually, that takes me to my next pick, which is Man United. This academy is one of the most famous academies ever. Obviously, you mentioned the class of '92. You had like Nicky Butt, Phil Neville, Gary Neville, David Beckham, Ryan Giggs, and Paul Scholes. Fantastic players who went on to have fantastic careers for Man United, winning literally everything for them. But the academy graduates do not stop there. You also have Paul Pogba, Michael Keane, Darren Fletcher, Joshua King, Danny Welbeck, and one of their greatest ever academy graduates, Will Keane.
but
Fantastic. Well, I think we should just close it there, Finch. United have had the best academy. The podcast done. Cheers for watching.
I still can't believe Will King agreed to go to Ipswich. He had the world at his feet. He could have been starting for United.
Yeah,
Then somehow he got to Ipswich,
exactly.
and
I
obviously he delivered in an absolutely incredible record of like
oh
30
yeah,
appearances, 1 goal. You can't do much better than that.
yeah. You just can't. You just cannot do better than that, Finch. And
Yeah.
obviously, we're joking.
Yeah,
Will
look,
Keane is the worst footballer I have ever seen play live, ever,
yeah.
ever. I will
Little,
not
little,
watch him again.
little story. I did try to defend him when Ipswich got him because he was for the first half of the season whilst Ipswich were fighting relegation in the Championship. He did score a couple of good goals, but then as we
Mhm.
went to League One, we re-signed him, and he was. I tried defending him to Ryan, and he got to a point where he was just too useless for me to
Oh yeah.
defend. And the last straw was me and Ryan were going to an Ipswich game. can't remember who it's against now, but in the
Peterborough
Peterborough, that was an awful
lost
result for it.
4-5-0.
Yeah, 4-0, I think it was. And in the warm up, so this isn't even in the game, so players should be
Mm,
relaxed. They shouldn't be making mistakes. In the warm up, Will Keane was going to strike the ball to try and score a goal. It's a standard striking exercise where the coach passes you the ball and then you take one
yep.
touch, you shoot. The coach passed him the ball and he fell over the ball. He fell straight over it. He looked like he's an amateur and just run on the pitch. And from
Yep.
that moment, I can't defend this guy. I can't defend him.
No, you can't defend the guy, and thankfully Ipswich have not decided to renew his contract. He will not be
No.
playing for Ipswich. Hallelujah! I don't have to watch him when we go to a game together.
But crazy enough, like, he was banging the goals back in the day at United's
Exactly.
academy level.
Yeah.
He was the top scorers in that academy level, and he was in a great generation. He was with
hmm
the likes of Pogba, Lingard, Michael
Yeah.
Keane, Tom Heaton, Drinkwater. That was that
Mm.
generation, and somehow his career took a completely different direction. So he obviously was
Oh,
good at
a
one point.
mad
But
turn. Yeah. Oh, of course. But when you're playing, it's weird because some academies have these fantastic talents in the youth setup, but then you've also got to remember you're playing other youth players who unfortunately will never make it. So it's probably a lot. It's definitely 100% a lot easier to look incredible when you're playing the likes of Burnley's academy and Birmingham's academy and Leeds' academy when you're a massive club like United who have such amazing array of young talent.
yeah. But I think whilst we're talking about United, we just got to talk about that class of '92. I know we started the podcast
Yeah.
saying we're not talking about academies gone by, but I just think that is the greatest age group for an academy, for a group of players
Yeah.
coming through out of any age group, out of any academy in the UK, in ever.
Yep.
I don't think we'll ever see it
Yep.
again, where 6 absolute world-class players come through in the same year, the same group. They've been playing together for years. They come through,
Mhm.
then they go to United, start at a very young age. They have pundits saying you can't do anything with kids. Alan Hansen, and
Mhm.
most famous quote he'll ever have, and then go
Yep.
on to win not just the Premier Leagues but Europe. You win the 1999 Champions League. You win more
Do the
Premier
treble.
Leagues. You do the
Do
treble.
the elusive treble. Yeah.
You become United legends like Giggs, Scholes, the Nevilles. They became United legends. Even people forget how
Beckham.
many appearances Butt had. Beckham went up
Yeah.
to world stardom. He was the real star. He obviously was England captain. He went to Madrid. He went to Milan.
Mhm.
He went to LA Galaxy. So you look at that '92 generation. I don't think there'll ever be a generation
No,
like
but
that
now
again.
one of the biggest names, not just in football, in the world, David Beckham, he now owns a football club.
Mm,
He don't win anything with kids.
yeah, I just
Incredible, absolutely incredible. And like you say, we'll never see it. You'll never see the likes of Rashford, Greenwood, Williams, Angel Gomez, even Jesse Lingard, recreating the success that the class of '92 had. You
well,
just
no one
don't.
can.
It's that.
No
No,
generation, any academy in England can do that again. I don't think.
no. Well, I'm just saying, like, definitely not United.
Yeah, but it's
Which is
just
sad for the United fans who missed out on the great class of '92.
yeah. What do you think about world class David Beckham? First, he was the best player in his position in the country. He was starting for England every game, going out with best
Mm-hmm.
in his position in England. Paul Scholes, one of the best in his position. Maybe late '90s, probably the best in his before Lampard and Gerrard came on. Best in
Yeah,
his position
yeah.
as an Englishman. You have these kind of players which are the best in their position. Ryan Giggs definitely the best Welshman. Um, so you have these
Yeah.
players which are the best in their positions for their nationality, and to come through at the same point, it's absolute madness. Is it
Mm-hmm.
just absolute? It's just thinking like for most academies, you have to almost combine their best players over the last 30 years in terms of players they brought through to get that kind of thing. Like for Arsenal, you'd have to say Adams, Cole, and all those kind of players came through at the same point. It's just crazy. They obviously didn't.
Mm-hmm.
United had all these great players at the same point. And I do agree, United's youth teams are very, very good. They did go through a few years where they weren't as good, and then they've had a little revival recently. So I think they had one great team. Maybe it was at 2013. Oh no, maybe before then, 2011, 2010 with Pogba, with Lingard, with Drinkwater, with the Keens. with Tom
Yeah.
Heaton, with those kind of players. And then they had a break where the youth teams weren't as good. They weren't producing as good players. I think their under 23s even dropped to the second tier, the second Premier League tier, whatever it is, how the setup goes. And then they've had a revival the last 2 years, I'd say, with the likes of Scott McTominay coming in, Mason Greenwood being
Yeah.
absolute revelation, Brandon Williams. It's a really good revival.
Yeah, they got a great little setup going now. United, in a way, I hope they don't, but this could be the chance for them to get back to almost sort of their glory days. With these, obviously, they'll never recreate, like we said, they'll never recreate what the Class 92 done. But it gives United fans hope for the future for sure. Perhaps for sure, and even if the players do depart, there's always welcome for a return like Paul Pogba did. Paul Pogba, world-class player. You can't say he's not. He is absolutely world-class. A fantastic talent. Dominates every single game he plays. But he doesn't do it. It's tough because he is world-class nearly every game. But when he has an off game, he really has an off game. And the world hears about his off game.
Yeah, as they should do if you're paid £300 a week, I guess.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. But I feel like Pogba is sort of unfairly judged by the poor games he has compared to the absolute world class games. Like the other night when he come on against Spurs, he changed the game for United.
Definitely, a little piece of skill got him the penalty.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not, I don't think the criticism is really fair on him at times, but other times I think it is because of, like you say, because of the big money move that he had, the wage he's on. Paul Pogba is a worldwide name in the football industry. Everyone knows who Paul Pogba is.
Yeah, and I think he is probably the best graduate out of United's academy in recent years. Obviously, he had a little roundabout, so he went to Juventus and came back, but that just shows the type of players United produce, and they have that crazy record of that. What was it? They fielded a youth product in every single match day squad since 1937, and that's an unbelievable record, and no team can compete with that.
No, definitely not.
No team can compete with
that.
Definitely
not.
They've definitely got to be up there as well, and I do think they'll always, although you look at Man City, how much money they spent on their academy, and they deal a lot of great players, and I think what they're trying to do is target the best players from maybe Championship, lower Premier League clubs when they're 14, 13 years old, and try and get them. Get them, because they did that with Ipswich. They took our best player for his age group, called Ben Knight. Great player. He's now 16, 17 years old. He's absolutely great player. And an Ipswich legend in Kieran Dyer came through the academy, obviously got a big money move to Newcastle, played for England plenty of times. He was the under 18s coach at the time, and he's quoted as saying Ben Knight is the best player he's seen come through his academy. And that is a big statement, because it should produce some absolutely great players. They used in the 80s, a lot of players they produced went on to play for England for years. Terry Butcher, McMills, they were England captains. So to say this kid's the best player, well, he's the best player he's seen, to be fair. So you can't include them. It's still a big statement. So that's what Man City are trying to do. And this kid is 18 years old now, and he would be starting if he was in the Championship, or he would get opportunities if he was a lower Premier League team. But because of that, Man City is not getting the opportunities, and that's why I don't really want to talk about it, because they've got a great academy, but just aren't really giving their players opportunities. And I do think I think Man City just will continue like that for years to come. And in terms of their actual academy setup, I think United will always get the best players from that region, because they're known for bringing through youth players. As a club, they have that famous record. Whereas you look at Man City, that they're targeting the best youth from other teams, lower league teams, because they know they're not going to get the best youth of their actual area.
That's exactly it, Finch. Like tonight, for example, they had a game against Burnley. They had over £400 million worth of talent on the bench, and there was not one youth player in sight on the pitch other than Phil Foden. What does that say to the other youth prospect who's currently at Man City? Am I just going to be in the youth team all my career? Is it worth departing like Sancho did?
Yeah. I think what will happen, in my personal opinion, is what PSG have seen. PSG has seen their best
Yeah.
talents go elsewhere and play really well. I think very similar Man City and PSG. They've got too much money. Well, not too much. You
Yeah.
can never have too much, I guess, but a lot of money. And it's easier for them to buy a top class player rather than bring through youth.
Exactly. It's just easy buying the best player in the world at the minute. Why not? Rather than wait 5 years for a youth talent to develop. It's like we said before, it's sad, but it's the sad reality of the big money spenders. And unfortunately enough, Chelsea have learnt from their mistakes, and they've had to promote youth because of the transfer ban.
Look at you, yeah. When you look at any other club in England, I think Foden will be starting. He got man of match
Yeah.
again tonight, and he'd be starting. Even Liverpool, top of the league, in my opinion, if Klopp was their manager, he would be starting.
Yeah.
He was going for Liverpool's academy.
100%.
Well, look what Klopp's done for Trent. And is Trent the same age as Foden? I think he is. Maybe
I
a
think he
year older.
might be just a year older. Yeah, I think he's a year older.
But look at his development. 1 year older, let's say. It's completely different worlds.
Oh, without that, you look at what the success that Trent Alexander-Arnold's had. Potentially being the best right back in the world at this moment in time. And you say like we said, he's only a year older, but he's had so much more experience than what Foden's had. Pep Guardiola, we said before in his podcast, Pep Guardiola goes on about how Phil Foden's one of the greatest talents he's seen, bar Messi. And is he really Pep? Because you're not playing him.
Yeah, that is the problem. So I think we discount Man City's academy from that.
Yeah.
Was there any other academies
100%.
you want to talk about?
No, I'm all right for academies. Is there any other academies that you want to mention? Because
I've got one particular one.
Go for it.
One particular one, which I think is worth mentioning, and it is potentially the greatest academy between 2005 to 2015. So of course, Latin.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I'm good with translations now. I'm translating their Messiah. So in English, that translates to the farmhouse. So that means bringing through. It sounds quite bad when you think about it, because it's almost like bringing through cattle, but they're bringing through the best products in the world to become first team starters. And that academy's had a huge impact on their overall success as a club. Johan Cruyff changed the strategy there. He brought through his particular pathway for how Barcelona play football, and that was adopted by the academy. The academy play that type of football from the start. So players coming through the academy know how to play for Barcelona when they get to that first team. And like the other great European sides who have great academies, I talked about like Lyon and Ajax. The best thing about European academies, top European academies, is the teams have B teams and C teams, so players can play at competitive level. It's not that there's disadvantages of having that kind of setup, because obviously it mimics and mocks the equivalent of the second division in those leagues if the top teams are having their B teams play, and that's why the Championship in England is so good, because we don't have those B teams. It sort of mocks the tournament. But that does work for bringing through youth, and it works really well. If you look at the likes of Messi, he had 22 appearances for Barcelona B team, invaluable experience. And Messi, I'm just naming the greatest player to ever come through that academy. But they've had between 2000 to 2015. Some of the players brought through that academy were the best in the world. Messi, Iniesta, Busquets. They're the best in their positions.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%. It's been that way like you say, it was that way from 2008 to 2015, really. That's 7
years. And
then
they had a period after that. So obviously, even as well as Busquets, Xavi, Iniesta, Messi, you had the likes of Fabregas. Obviously, went to Arsenal when he was very young. Pedro, Defoe, those kind of players. But they had a dip, almost like United. They had a dip where players just didn't come through, and they were spending a lot. And players which did come through weren't given opportunities, like Carlos Salina. And
Sergio Sampa.
Yeah, exactly. And recently, they've had one particular player, Fatty, come through, but he's been the exception, really. Because even like that Puig centre, I think it's a centre mid, really good player, but he's not given opportunities. Really, Fatty's the only one which is actually given opportunities. So Barcelona have almost gone against their traditional policy and not playing youth, apart from Fatty, obviously, apart from Anthony. he's the only exception. It's quite sad to see that, because obviously it's
Very.
different to Man City, because Man City had just got this amazing academy just recently, have all these academy products. They don't have this history of bringing through players. Whereas Barcelona had that history, so it's sad to see they're not using it.
Yeah, that is sad to see.
And there's one other team I think is worth a mention. Well, two others. One team which is a quick mention, because I don't think the academy's the best at the moment, but I do think over the previous 5 to 10 years, it was incredible at bringing through youth talent at Southampton.
Oh
So
yeah, good,
they
great shout.
brought through some of England's best talent, likes of Shaw, Walcott, Bridge, Lana, I would say Chamberlain. We're going to Wales, talking about Bale, Letizier. Obviously got Obafemi at the moment. They've got a few players coming in, but a very good academy in terms of bringing through youth players. And one more, which I think is going to really surprise you, this one. And there's one team I don't think many people give credit for their academy, and that's
Oh, hang
Sheffield
on, can I
United.
just? Oh wow, Sheffield United.
But yeah, go back to the point.
I was going to guess which team doesn't get the credit for their academy, and I was going to list one like you when you said Southampton. Hasn't really had the best academy products for the last sort of couple of years, but the last sort of 5 to 10 years, these products have gone on to do bigger and better things, and that's Schalke.
Yes, definitely.
You think Schalke have had 4 World Cup winners come from their academy? Manuel Neuer, Benedict Howardez, Mesut Ozil, and Julian Draxler. 4 fantastic talents, and that's not including Leroy Sané, Joel Matip, Kolasinac, Max Meyer.
All for a lot of youth.
Incredible talent. All through. Mesut Ozil was one of the stars of the 2010 World Cup, and at the time he was playing with Schalke, and he managed to get that big money move to Real Madrid and become one of their greatest ever playmakers. Let's be honest. Ozil at Madrid was a whole different kettle of fish.
Yeah, I completely agree. Schalke potentially best German academy for a period. I don't know what's happened to them recently. They've just not produced the same talent last year.
Which is very, very, very sad to see. But
as a club, they haven't gone down the league a little bit as well.
Oh yeah, they're borderline relegation nowadays.
Lost 4-1 to Wolfsburg at the weekend, which is obviously not a good sign for them. They've got a few
David
players coming through.
Get out.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
But go on, back to your point. Apologies for interrupting. Back to your point with
no worries. Real good shout. So Sheffield United, a team which is overachievers. So they're doing really well this season. They obviously came out last year from the Championship, thoroughly deserved, and they're surprising a lot of people this year. But one area they're just not given enough credit is the youth players they bring through. They brought through Kyle Walker. They brought through Harry Maguire. So 2 of England's starting players in the World Cup they brought through. They brought through Carl Norton, Matt Lowton. They brought through one of the best young strikers in the Premier League at the moment, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, very underrated striker. He was through their academy. They brought through a player who's done the merry-go-round. He started off at Sheffield United, is now back there in the latter part of his career in Phil Jagielka. Most recently, they brought through David Brooks, a player who's looked unbelievable for Bournemouth since he's come in. Last season he had a real good season, and this season they've really missed him where he's been injured. And you can see first game back, he was probably their best player. They lost to Bournemouth. So these kind of youth products aren't talked about from Sheffield United. And I've just listed Kyle Walker and Harry Maguire, who are starters for England, or at least they were at the last World Cup. Yeah, people don't say, they're from this great Sheffield United academy. They don't put 2 and 2 together. Same with Jagielka, with Calvert-Lewin. People don't think of these players from Sheffield United's academy. I do think it's worth mentioning.
Fantastic shot. And going back actually, because he's currently at Sheffield United now. Going back to Man United, a player that we at Alex Ferguson called one of the greatest ever academy graduates. It's Ravel Morrison. We didn't give him a mention.
Wow. Potentially
Yeah,
the best academy product to come out of English football, which hasn't kicked on.
yeah. That's
The best
I thought he
talent,
was
which was
definitely
never
worth a
was.
mention. Yeah, without that, he was in that team with Pogba, Lingard, the Keens,
Mm.
and everyone deemed him to be the next big thing. Nothing ever come of it.
What a team that
Very,
was when you think about it.
oh yeah, fantastic setup when you do think about it. I mean, Will Keane, man.
What a player.
So,
Now, I think Morrison is on loan at Middlesbrough now.
oh, is it Middlesbrough?
He's Sheffield United is signed to, but is on loan at Middlesbrough.
Has he played much?
A couple of games.
Probably substitute appearances, I bet.
Yeah, it's just sad to see, but his career is
Really
just
sad to see.
attitude problems or whatever problems it has been. Maybe it's not attitude, maybe it's more to do with his mindset, just and stuff in the personal life. It just hasn't worked out.
No,
And
definitely not Finch. So, who is or who has the most exciting academy then as of today?
I think to talk about an academy, we've got to look at players brought through. I think that's a key criteria. You can have a great academy, you can win everything, but you've also got to bring through the players and have that track record of bringing through talent after talent after talent. And that's why I'm
I
vouching
know
for
where this
Ajax.
is going. Yeah,
The one and only
same here, my
Ajax.
friend. Oh yeah, I was gonna say Chelsea, but when you listed off all their great talent, like we said, that decades worth of world-class players that will go down in history as legends. You know, I look at the Chelsea Academy, I don't really see one legend in there other than John Terry. So unfortunately, I can't give it to them. Hopefully, in 30, 40 years' time, I'll be able to look back and think of the Chelsea Academy players that have come through and say, yeah, they'll go down as legends of the game. But for now, I can't. You know, and so I'm gonna have to go with Ajax. Which that is such a fantastic academy. Their setup they've got is one that I hope that carries on forever. Such entertainment comes from that academy.
We're just bringing through talent after talent after talent.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's actually crazy.
It's completely unrivaled, the talent they've brought through in terms of year after year, like De Jong, De Beek. These are the most recent players. You look at players that bring through at the moment as well, which on the fringes, you like the Gravenberg, the Dest, the Jurgen, I'm going to pronounce his name here, Eklenkamp, I think that's how you pronounce it. Unbelievable talents. Right. Yeah, unbelievable talents. And they'll go on to replace those who leave before them. So you had like Ericsson, he left, De Jong came in. There's always a clear pathway. And when we're talking about Chelsea have done really good recently is playing those youth players, playing. We didn't mention Abraham, actually, playing Abraham and playing these type of players. But Ajax have done that their whole history. It's not just the last couple of years they've done it. They've done it throughout their history. And Chelsea may have won all these youth tournaments back in the day, but a lot of them talents just didn't get the opportunity. I'm just thinking now, I'm looking at a game back in 2016 between Ajax and Chelsea where Chelsea won it. It was the quarterfinals of that UEFA Youth League, and Chelsea beat Ajax nearly every time they played them in this Youth League. It hasn't been going that long, and some of the players in Chelsea team haven't kicked on. You had like Clark Salter, Jay De Silva, Palmer, these kind of players.
Most of them players now in the Championship.
Yeah, whereas you look at, even though Chelsea were better than them at the day, so these players may be better at this point, they weren't brought through as good as Ajax, because Ajax's players, you had De Ligt, you had De Beek, you had these kind of players, and obviously look what's happened. You had Justin Kluivert, look what's happened since to those players. Then that just shows the difference. Even though Chelsea potentially the better academy in terms of what they win, and at the age groups in terms of winning, in terms of bringing them through, they weren't. But I do think if Chelsea carry on as they are, they will be the best academy.
Yeah.
Because obviously, if they're winning these
100%.
games, players are better at that level. If they get opportunities to develop, then potentially they could be the best academy in the world in terms of bringing through players who are starting.
Completely agree, Finch. I completely agree.
I'm just going by that because of their track record at the moment. I think it'll be next season the test for Chelsea.
Yeah. Yeah, whether they can stick at it.
I do think they will.
This youth. I
I,
really hope so. I really hope so. There's a lot of exciting young talent coming through the ranks of Chelsea at the minute. I really, Colin Gallagher, I think deserves a chance.
hmm. That's the problem is Conor Gallagher. Even even if he played with Chelsea's youth, he's in a position where Chelsea have sorted from midfielders.
Stacked. They are
Yes, even
stacked.
even if we're talking about just midfielders from the academy, you'd think Mount, Loftus-Cheek, Gilmour will be ahead of him. So that's three midfielders. And
Yeah,
that's just from the academy. So that's
that's what I
that's
mean.
not
There's a
nothing to
lot of
do with,
talent.
yeah. If he doesn't make it, that's nothing to do with Chelsea not bringing him through youth. I don't think so. The reason
No, and
he won't
nothing
make
to
it is
do with
because,
his,
yeah,
yeah,
it's
nothing
because
to do with
other
his
youth are coming through.
performance wise. Exactly, yeah. It's
Mm.
crazy.
I do think
But
Chelsea brought through a lot of players, and this season I just hope it continues because they are the academy, which could be the best academy in England for the future. Could bring through England's
yeah,
best players, but it'll be next season where there'll be a test. Do they sign Havertz? If they sign Havertz, it's not a good sign. If they sign a centre back, it's different because they could sign a centre back to support Tomori, and
yeah,
that's not the stacked part of their squad. The stacked part of their squad is young English midfielders.
yeah, exactly.
So I'm hoping to see next season plenty of Gilmour, plenty of Loftus-Cheek, plenty of Mount, and
Yes.
Conte, of course, is going to be there. I'm hoping
Oh
to
yeah,
see
you
those
got it.
guys.
You have to be. Oh yes.
I'm hoping to
So
see
so
them.
there we have it, Finch. There we have it. Ajax is the most exciting. Well, I say the most exciting is the. I think Chelsea's the most exciting, to be fair, but Ajax wins are
The most successful academy.
yeah,
Put it that
most
way.
successful academy. We'll say it like that.
I would say you're most successful in terms of bringing through youth. There's no doubts
Yeah,
about that. You look at also the fees they've received for their players. They must have made an absolute killing. Even last summer,
yeah. Oh,
De
last
Ligt
summer was
and
crazy.
De Jong over 100 million between them.
Oh, easy. De Jong was like 80 million, wasn't
Yeah.
he? Just crazy. Absolute craziness, Finch.
Well, what's the
So
most Chelsea got for a fee for a youngster? They've got a
I
lot of
don't
smaller
think
fees, like Bertrand Traore, 10 million here and there. I think the most
20
recent,
million for like, was it 20 million that Solanke went? Oh, no, 11 million Solanke went for, and he went 20 million to Bournemouth.
yeah. Well, he only went for a
I don't
tribunal
think we've
fee as well, didn't he?
sold, yes, I don't think we've sold an academy graduate for big bucks yet.
Ake was
Yeah.
20 million, wasn't
Yeah, Nathan Ake probably is the one then.
he? Even him, if he played 50 times with Chelsea, he could have got a 50 million pound. It would maybe ended up would have been a
Yeah,
50 million pound move. It's just because he hasn't played. Like that's why Ajax get these big money transfers because they're playing them.
exactly. Ake is probably the best centre back outside of the top six.
Yeah, well, there's a few shouts there, isn't there?
There's a few shouts, yeah, but he'll be up there.
Definitely, definitely. Right. I think
That
that is our
concludes another
podcast.
podcast.
We've got Ajax, the most successful academy, and keep an eye out for Chelsea, the academy of the future. Chelsea should be the academy of Chelsea's future. We hope so.
We hope.
Yeah. And thank you. Over and
Yes.
out.
Thank you for watching.